A two-star general with access to the military's most closely guarded secrets walks out of his house on a Friday morning. He leaves his phone behind, his glasses, his wallet. His wife finds him gone when she returns from a doctor's appointment an hour later. He is never seen again. This isn't the plot of a spy thriller. This is what actually happened to retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCasland on February 27, 2026. And the timing? It couldn't be more suspicious. Just days before he vanished, McCasland flew to Washington, D.C. to resign from Riverside Research, a nonprofit that holds hundreds of millions of dollars in Pentagon contracts for advanced technology projects. His reason? According to police reports, he told his wife he was suffering from brain fog and could no longer keep up mentally with the conversations. But here's what the official reports don't tell you. McCasland wasn't just any retired officer. He was the former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. The same base that housed Project Blue Book, the U.S. Air Force's official UFO investigation program that ran from 1952 to 1969. The same base where, according to decades of whistleblower testimony, debris from the 1947 Roswell crash was stored and analyzed. His name, according to a witness who dined with him the night before he disappeared, appears in the very UFO documents that were slated for public release under the Pursue program. So let me ask you something. A man who oversaw some of the Pentagon's most classified aerospace research programs, a man whose name is literally in the UFO files, suddenly develops cognitive decline and vanishes without a trace? That's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. Because McCasland isn't the only one. Since 2022, at least 11 scientists and engineers working in nuclear or aerospace technology have died or vanished under mysterious circumstances. Some were found dead in their homes. Others simply walked away and were never seen again. All of them had one thing in common: access to classified military research. Congress is now investigating. In April 2026, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer and Representative Eric Burleson opened an official probe into what they called the missing scientists phenomenon. Burleson told Fox News, "How many people walk out their front door without their phone, their wallet, their keys, or anything? I don't go anywhere without my phone. I don't even mow the lawn without my phone." And here's the part that should terrify you. McCasland's wife told 911 dispatchers that her husband had planned not to be found. She said he'd been telling her that if his brain and body kept deteriorating, he didn't want to live like that. But she also said he'd never done anything remotely like this before. He left behind his phone, his prescription glasses, his wearable devices. But he took his hiking boots, his wallet, and a .38 caliber revolver. Investigators found a gray Air Force sweatshirt about 1.25 miles from his home 8 days after he disappeared. No blood, no signs of struggle, just a piece of clothing in the middle of the New Mexico desert. A surveillance image released by the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office shows McCasland leaving a sporting goods store the day before his disappearance. He appears calm, composed, alert. He's carrying a large white shopping bag and a smaller item tucked under his arm. What was in that bag? No one knows. The FBI got involved. Helicopters with infrared cameras searched the cliffs and canyons near his home. But here's the nightmare scenario that the search teams faced. An unseasonably warm spring had turned the mountains against them. Lieutenant Kyle Woods of the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office said, quote, "The mountain was just lit up like a candle. We couldn't differentiate from heat signatures and the heat from the rocks. They were looking for a man who knew how to disappear." Because here's what you need to understand about William Neal McCasland. He was an astronautical engineer, an avid outdoorsman, an experienced hiker who knew the Sandia Mountains foothills like the back of his hand. He wasn't a confused old man wandering into the wilderness. He was a highly intelligent, highly capable military officer who, according to investigators, would still be the most intelligent person in the room, even with cognitive decline. So let's connect the dots. McCasland commanded the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson. He was connected to Sandia National Laboratories, a major U.S. government-owned research lab that develops nuclear weapons technology. He was a consultant for multiple defense research groups with deep ties to national security secrets. He was still an active member of at least 4 different organizations working on advanced technology for the Department of War when he disappeared. And days before he vanished, he tried to resign from all of them. A bombshell memo obtained by historical researcher Sarah Bonding reveals that McCasland was attempting to step down from several high-level advisory positions at government-connected research laboratories across the country. His wife told authorities he was making a desperate attempt to resign from multiple secretive projects over fears of severe mental decline. But here's the question no one is asking. Why now? Why, after decades of handling the military's most sensitive secrets, did McCasland suddenly want out? And why did he choose to walk away from everything, his family, his home, his life, just days after the Pentagon announced the third tranche of Pursue files? On June 12, 2026, the Department of War published its third release of declassified UAP files, 53 documents, 10 images, 6 videos, and 3 NASA audio recordings spanning incidents from 1949 to 2025. The Pursue portal has received over 1.7 billion hits since launching in May. McCasland's name, according to that witness who dined with him the night before he vanished, is in those documents. So let's look at what we actually know. McCasland was born in 1957. He graduated from the U.S. Air Force Academy in 1979. He earned a master's degree in astronautical engineering from the Air Force Institute of Technology. He served as a program manager for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, working on hypersonic flight and space-based weapons systems. In 2008, he took command of the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson. That's a facility that manages over $2 billion in research and development annually. It's the same facility that houses the National Museum of the United States Air Force, where, according to some researchers, classified artifacts from Project Blue Book are still stored in restricted areas. In 2012, McCasland retired from the Air Force after 33 years of service. But he didn't stop working. He became a principal at the Charles Stark Draper Laboratory in Massachusetts, a nonprofit that develops technology for the Department of Defense and NASA. He was a senior fellow at the National Defense Industrial Association. He advised the FBI's Operational Technology Division on advanced surveillance systems. This man wasn't just connected to the UFO files. He was the system that created them. And now he's gone. So I'll leave you with this. On February 26, 2026, a woman who claims she worked with McCasland had dinner with him and a member of the U.S. Space Force. She told investigators that he wasn't acting like himself. He was spacey and quiet. He seemed distracted. Something was wrong. The next morning, he walked out of his house and disappeared. Was he running from something? Was he protecting someone? Or was he eliminated because he knew too much? The official investigation remains open. The FBI is still involved. Congress is demanding answers. But 4 months later, William Neal McCasland has not been found. And the question that haunts this entire case is simple. What did he know that made him want to leave? And who wanted him gone badly enough to make sure he never came back? His wife told 911 he planned not to be found. But here's the thing about men like William McCasland, they don't just vanish. They are erased. The question is, by whom? This is Lost Timeline. Subscribe,